Hey friends, my name is Jack Droppers. I am the Director of Student Activities Office here at Calvin University, and welcome to another mini concert and conversation. I miss seeing live music. There is nothing quite like the boom of a subwoofer hitting your chest or the sound of a voice that reverberates off of a high ceiling. And so these mini concerts and conversations have been a way for us to experience just a little bit of live music. Not only because of those things that I mentioned before, but also because music, like most art, invites us to experience our humanity more deeply. So as you watch these songs and listen to the conversation, I invite you to consider your own humanity, your shared humanity with the performer, and to experience the parts of your humanity that this performer brings out. With that being said, enjoy the show.
Mama said to hurry. Mama said don't you wait. Mama said you better get going, 'cause girl you're always so damn late. Papa said it's the one place where you can put your faith. Papa knows what he's saying, 'cause preachers don't mistake. So girl, when you've lost your way, let's go down to the river, darling. You've been lost and found. Down to the river, child. You are leaving home. Down to the river, darling. You've been lost and found. Down to the river, child. You are leaving holy ground. So please don't worry, Mama, I'm gonna find my way. The good Lord knows when I need Him. I find my knees and start to pray. And I'll hear you say, let's go down. Down to the river, darling. You've been lost and found. Down to the river, child. You are leaving home. Down to the river, darling. You've been lost and found. Down to the river, child. You are leaving holy ground. Let's go down. Let's go down. Let's go down to the river, darling. You've been lost and found. Down to the river, child. You are leaving home. Down to the river, darling. You've been lost and found. Down to the river, child. You are needing holy ground. wish you've been told, and I don't care what you believe. Better start running before they take everything. Maybe it's time to fall out of line. Maybe it's time to fight for your life. Facing the dark will get you to light, 'cause fire burns brightest at night. See the wolves and thieves all coming down the street. Let the wolf alive we see through your deceit. Call it a lesson learned, or call it what you may. Only time will tell us which fears we need to face. Maybe it's time to fall out of line. Maybe it's time to fight for your life. Facing the dark will get you to light, 'cause fire burns brightest at night. So bring on the witches, the lovers of night. I'll take their transparency over disguise. We'll dance with the shadows and bring them to life, 'cause fire burns brightest at night. I was born trying to fix everyone and everything. I can't breathe, worry about every single tragedy. Falling down 'cause I'm so tired of trying to make you proud. Losing sleep, worrying about every single thing but Don't you close your eyes. I know you are having a real hard time. Sticks and stones trying to kill our own, but love will lead us home. I promise that the future's bright. Just keep chasing the light and fighting the fight. Someday everything is gonna be alright. So much chatter, people love to talk, create noise. So much nonsense and drama drowning out your voice. It's no wonder people just go along with the grain. It's so exhausting trying to stand up for everything. Don't you close your eyes. I know you are having a real hard time. Sticks and stones trying to kill our own, but love will lead us home. I promise the future's bright. gonna be alright.
All right, I am sitting down with Grace Theisen to talk about her music. Grace, thanks so much for playing some tunes for us.
Thanks for having me.
So it's obviously been a long time since you played a show, but one of the questions
Yes.
we like to ask every artist is,
Okay.
what makes an audience, or what makes a fan a good audience or a good fan of your music?
Okay, it's a good question. I feel like something I've been thinking about a lot lately is almost like the flip side of that, of like what makes me engaging to an audience. And I've been watching a lot of Alicia Keys' performances, and there's something about as an artist being able to show up like fully present that I feel like an audience responds to. Like I feel like an audience knows if you're not really like engaged.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, I just love playing music, and I feel like if somebody's more interested in like eating their hot dog than listening to me, then I'm like, great. Like as long as you're having a good time, that makes me happy. So I feel like a good audience to me is people that are just enjoying their time.
Yeah.
It's not like as an artist you're like, what's the word? You are required to have their attention.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's sort of this like weighing game of like, how do I be present? And even if they aren't present, like still enjoy on both ends.
Yeah. What about, in this live stream or singing to your phone sort of culture?
Yeah.
It changes the artist-audience relationship. What does it look like to, what do you hope for your fans to get when they get a new single, or the EP you're about to put out, or any of those things? Like, what do you hope that listening experience is, or how do you hope they like care for that, that baby that you're sort of handing over to them?
Yes, it is like a baby. My hope is that they feel, I don't know, I feel like as an artist, your job is, you're like healer, reprieve, you talk about things. And my hope with my music is always that like they feel the energy that I put into it it is like a baby. So you pour so much into it, and whether that's like they feel joy or they are thinking about things differently. When I listen to music and when I listen to like artist music, granted, I know the back end of like how much goes into something, but I think you just want to be changed, or you want to have a little bit of a reprieve from real life.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, especially with something like Down to the River, I want people to feel like they can move and dance or whatever that is. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. We like to think about this. I feel like this is a more interesting question in COVID time, that we think about artists often as like what we feel in COVID, that we're sort of isolated. And we like to think of them as like the Bon Ivers or Kendricks of society that go off to their cabin or their studio and they disconnect from the world. But in reality, artists are interacting with other art in music or in different mediums. And so I'm curious, what are you interacting with music-wise right now, or movie-wise, or what are you reading that's like really bringing life to the work that you're creating?
Yeah. So I grew up listening to a lot of blues, and my cousin was in a blues band, and so it's crazy. Right now, I've actually been going back through a lot of old blues albums, like John Lee Hooker and B.B. King, and like trying to listen to them from start to finish.
Okay.
Because I think there's something about blues that's just so honest, and I feel like right now in this like climate and all that's happening, people just want honesty. And so also paired with that though, like watching, I don't know if you saw the Billie Holiday movie with Andra Day. Oh my gosh, it's incredible. But just like watching a lot of shows about where did music come from, and also like I love watching documentaries of like Shawn Mendes or like Taylor Swift, people that I don't necessarily like listen to, but for some reason there's something about seeing other artists' life that gives me a little bit of like, one, inspiration, but two, like, oh, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
To like spend hours in your room or like
there's
whatever.
a bit of like a neurosis that comes with making a thing and then saying, here world,
yes.
like this, please.
Yes.
And to be, sort of in the communion of the crazies in some way.
Yes. That's so true. I read a lot of, I do love to read. Currently I'm reading a lot of World War II books, which has nothing,
All right.
which has nothing to do with my music,
Like
but
fiction or like
both.
nonfiction? Okay.
Usually the fiction ones lead to like the actual nonfiction
right.
stories.
That's fascinating. I don't think I've met a middle-aged man who's like, yeah, I'm really into World War II books.
Yeah,
So-
I'm really into World War II books.
Very cool. What is it about World War II books that sort of draw you in?
You know, I wish I could tell you. I just feel like I'm a very like deep person, have always been, and so like when I'm talking to someone, when I'm reading something, I want to get to like the heart of the matter. And I think there's something about World War II, and there's a lot of stories that people don't know about, like women who risked their life to, help win the war that no one sees, or I don't know. I think I'm just inspired by stories that take you to a different level that you don't like see day to day, or that you're not really engaging with day to day.
Yeah.
But I'll have to come back to that one because I don't know. It makes my brain like just, I don't want to say happy because it was a very tragic thing, but it makes me think very deeply about things.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So.
Yeah, I wonder if you'll look back at songs and be like, that's because I was reading.
Yes. I should start writing songs about it because.
There you go. Just war.
Now
war
I just have a
tune.
ton of knowledge about.
Well, that could be
War
the
II.
next. Like there was a big she shanty. Am I saying that right? She shanty. Sea shanty.
Sea shit. Yeah.
Movement. So maybe like World War II
yes.
songs.
Maybe I'll bring
are
it
the
back.
next thing. Like just get on your TikTok.
Yeah.
and
I don't even have one,
don't
but
know
yes,
anything about TikTok.
I'll start. Yeah. Me either.
I want to ask a little bit, and tell me if this question is off, and you don't have to answer, and we can cut this out.
Okay.
But I'm curious. So you worked for a nonprofit in Nashville called
Yes.
Songs Against Slavery.
Yes.
And from my research, it's you and some other artists were writing songs and touring and sort of raising money for different organizations, or maybe you can explain it better than
Yes.
my simple research.
You were
into it.
close.
Yeah.
So my co-founder and I actually started it when I was at Hope. And we found out about the issue of sex trafficking, and I was like, I want to use my music to fight this. At that point, I had no plans to have a music career or do anything with music. But that sort of idea led to this whole nonprofit of we would put on benefit concerts around the US and raise money in that city for a nonprofit that was fighting trafficking. And so that led us to Nashville to run it there full time for a few years.
So here's my question. I've been thinking about this a little bit. Is does running something like that change your perspective on writing your own tunes now? Because I think about it as, there are so many artists out there that are like, I'm writing so that my song will be in the next Dodge Caravan commercial.
Yeah.
And so it does give this sort of utilitarian sense to the music.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, does that feel like, oh, this is the purest thing I can do because this is really close to my heart, or does it get like, oh, am I just writing to raise money, or am I just, and how do you work that out within yourself?
It's a good question. I feel like for myself, I can't just write a song about Joe Schmo, I feel like it has to relate to my life in some way. And so with trafficking and with having almost been 10 years in the nonprofit industry of fighting that, I feel like it gave me, it made me see as an artist, you have to take these subjects seriously, and what you say matters.
Yep.
There was one song that I had written that just sort of came out of nowhere while working in trafficking, and we played it at a show, and someone had come up to me after in the audience and was like, I didn't know that I had been trafficked, but after hearing that song, it put together in my head that was me. I was that girl. And so I feel like for me, I don't know, I just feel like art is, like I said, it can be reprieve, but I also think we have to take seriously and think through what we're saying, because that matters. And there's something that I learned doing that job, that music gives us this way to say things people can't say. And no one wants to go to a talk about trafficking, but if you pair it with music, people will go. And so I feel like the biggest impact it had on me was remember what you're saying and take that seriously, and doesn't mean all your songs have to be serious, but I just think when it's coming to like social justice issues, to really think through what is my viewpoint, what could be someone else's type of thing.
Yeah, that sort of ties into my next question is, it wouldn't be a stretch to say we are a culture in crisis. What do you see as the responsibility of an artist or a songwriter when a culture is in crisis?
I would say, like, as an artist, we are healers, like we are truth tellers. We, like I said, give reprieve. And I've actually been thinking a lot about this after watching the Billie Holiday documentary of like, there's no way Billie Holiday could have just gone on stage and talked about the lynchings. She couldn't have just said it. One, because she was a black woman in the 1940s, but again, music gives this way of like being able to say things that people might not be able to speak yet or have like the power to speak. And so I feel like for me as an artist, it's my job to know about those issues and take them seriously and write about them. And you're not always going to get it right. Like, you know, your point of view is never going to be right, but I think along with writing like happy, fun, joyful songs, it's also, I think, our job to be truth tellers within that. Yeah, that some ways you can tell truths that nobody would give you the microphone to just talk about. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, very cool. Well, thanks so much for being here, for sharing your thanks for
tunes.
having me.
Where can people discover your music or buy your merch if you have any merch or whatever?
I don't have any merch yet. It's Grace_Theisen, so Theisen, or my website is just gracetheisen.com. So
awesome.
Record will come out sometime this year. Not sure when, but
well, thanks so much,
we'll
and we eagerly await the record.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Cut.